I am a huge overthinker, and one of my favorite things to overthink is what I carry with me on a day-to-day basis. Whether it's the items that go in my pockets, or in my backpack, or my camera bag, even my travel toiletry kit. All of them have been obsessed over and made as efficient and useful to me as possible. My motorcycle E.D.C is no exception, and that's what we're talking about today. I'm going to go over the 10 items that I always carry with me every time I go for a ride.
So I want to emphasize up front that this video is only about my motorcycle specific E.D.C. So I'm not going to cover things like my phone, keys, and wallet because I have those all the time. And I'm not covering like what goes in my moto vlogging camera bag. That's its own unit and I don't necessarily always have it when I'm out on the bike. These 10 items are the things that I always have when I'm riding and that I only have when I'm riding. Also worth noting, this setup is a little bit different when I'm touring. I do still have all these items when I'm on a road trip on the motorcycle. They're just, organized a little differently, or there may be some things that get replaced by something else that pulls double duty that I only have when I'm traveling. Did I mention that I like to overthink this stuff? Anyway, this is just about my baseline motorcycle E.D.C, the things that I have with me regardless of whether I'm commuting, making a video, or touring.
It's hot. The first of my essential motorcycle carry items is actually the one that contains all the others. And no, I'm not referring to my top case. It's this, a Kriega dry bag, specifically the US 10, the 10-liter one. And you may ask, why would I keep all my things in a bag or within a box? Isn't that just kind of taking up unnecessary space and weight? And the answer is flexibility. I can go anywhere I need to go on any given day with my motorcycle E.D.C right here. I even have a little extra room inside the top box. But if I pick up something like takeout or a pair of shoes or a case of cannolis, and I need all the room in this box, I can just take this bag out and strap it to my pillion seat. Now I still have all my standard things in their little bag, and now I get this entire trunk to work with. I genuinely cannot tell you how many times this ability has come in handy. This is actually the arrangement I used to ride here today because this trunk was taken up by my larger camera bag. The bag attaches to my pillion seat with the standard Kriega loop clip strap things. You know what I'm talking about. Strapettes, maybe they call them. I keep those inside the bag itself, so if I want to move it from my trunk to the pillion seat, I just pull these out, hook them up, and it's kind of nice because the Triumph seat has these little hidden loops you can deploy from underneath it. So I only need to use the Kriega frame loops for the two rear straps. This bag is 100% waterproof, so I can use this arrangement in any conditions. Okay, let's check out what else is in the bag. The first thing in my bag that I will not ride without is water. I don't know what to tell you. I'm a thirsty girl. If I am not constantly hydrating, my brain just stops working and I get so much unhappier. I always have this with me when I'm commuting around town. I take a drink from it before and after every time I get on and off the bike. Hydrate or dihydrate. Second thing in here, which I keep close to the top of the bag for convenience, is also related to cargo transportation. That's a bungee net. This further expands my ability to carry things. Maybe I have a wet jacket or something that I don't want to put inside of either my trunk or my Kriega bag. I'll throw this usually over the bag itself. And it's not complicated. I don't need to explain bungee nets to you. I like this one because it has the little reverse hooks, so you can tuck more of the net into the hook and tighten it down even more. Next up, we have my rain layers. For these, I use the Revit Acid pants and jacket. I use this bike for transportation. Although Coda and I share a car, and if it's raining and she doesn't need it, I'll choose to take that. Sometimes I have no choice but to ride in the rain to get where I need to go. I actually used these things getting out here this morning. It was about 6 a.m. and I got caught in a downpour on 66. I've ridden in these things a lot and I have absolutely no complaints. For a while I was using the Revit pants and a Nelson Rig jacket. And that thing, it worked in light rain, but in like a driving rain, it was simply not waterproof. I would get home and take it off and my shirt and clothes underneath would all just be completely soaked. Never had that problem with the Revit Acid. The next thing in the bag is something else that has already come in handy today. I used this right before I started filming this clip, and that is sunscreen. I'm pale, I'm sweaty, I need it. Even if I put some on in the morning, I'm always gonna need it by halfway through a long day of riding. I use a little travel size, SPF 50, Copper Tone Sport. Sponsor me. Towards the bottom of the bag are the items that I feel I'm the least likely to need to use, that I hope I'm the least likely to need to use. And that is one, my tire plugger kit. I have a whole video about using this thing. I've only ever had to use it once, but it's the rope plug variety. I've got more ropes than I'll ever need at one time, the tools I need to install them, plus one little CO2 cartridge, which actually didn't come with it. I pilfered this from something else. This will put enough air back in your tire to limp to a gas station and fill it back up. Rope plugs are actually pretty durable. I did a couple thousand miles, including a weekend trip on a plug tire, no issues. Alongside the tire plugger kit is my tool kit, the Cruise Tools Speed Kit. I bought this at Dunn Lewis, RIP. And it is the one SKEU. What does that mean? This is the one that's for British and other European motorcycles. I have added to it a little bit, although aside from the duct tape and zip ties, I can't remember which things came with it and which ones I put in there. It may not seem like much of a toolkit, but this is just my E.D.C. This doesn't need to get me back to civilization if I'm on a long road trip in the middle of nowhere. This is just, you know, in case something important came loose during my commute. Was that it? Was that 10 items? I wasn't counting. Oh. Some things for when I come to a stop. One is a helmet lock. I use the, you know, the carabiner type. This is not gonna stop a motivated thief, but, you know, it would stop an opportunist from just walking off with your helmet if your bike's parked on the street. I stopped at Broad Porch earlier, that little coffee shop I like in Luray, and just used this to lock my helmet up. My GoPros, I took them off and put them inside the trunk. But yeah, whenever I'm going anywhere to work or friends' places or whatever, I'll usually opt to bring my helmet inside with me, but the times where it doesn't make sense, this does the job. I don't hook it to anything solid, just the, you know, brake cable and throttle cable, which may not seem all that secure, but again, neither is this. They do the job. You may be wondering by now, and no, I do not carry any sort of disc lock to lock my motorcycle while I'm out and about. At least not as standard. I just don't live in or frequent very many places where motorcycle theft is like a severe problem. Motorcycle theft does exist where I live, but it's not like, no offense, London, where if you leave your motorcycle on the street for 5 minutes with anything less than 3 disc locks on it, it's gonna get nicked. I'll bring one and use it if I'm traveling to a place where the security situation's a little more iffy, hotels and motels in particular. But as part of my standard everyday kit, I'm comfortable relying on just my steering lock, immobilizer, and insurance. I do lock up my bike with a disc lock and a heavy chain when it's parked at home. Anyway, item number 10 is, drum roll please, the humble kickstand plate. You know, when I make my videos, I'm always pulling over on the side of the road. Usually the pullouts are not paved, they're gravel. And it's nice to know that my bike's kickstand is not going to sink into the ground. I used it earlier today when I was getting that drone shot of me going by under the tunnel. I used it earlier when I was up at Kennedy Peak. I used to use black ones, but I was losing them all the time because I would lose sight of them, forget they were there, and ride off without them. I've since started buying the orange Revzilla ones, and now I only sometimes leave them behind. Anyway, that's it for my everyday carry motorcycle items. If you really want to, I mean, I have some spare earplugs in here, but I also have those in like 2 or 3 pockets of every single jacket I own. I also have my keys. That's not very interesting other than maybe the fact that I keep my trunk key and disc lock key on one little carabiner that separates from my main key so that, you know, when it's in the ignition, these aren't rattling around, and also so that I can get up and open this with the bike running if I need to. If these were stuck together, I'd have to be shutting it off if I needed to grab something out of the trunk. My riding could be summed up in a pie chart that looks like this. There's riding just to get where I need to go. We'll call that commuting. There's touring, motorcycle road trips, and then there's out riding just for fun, whether that's just riding to enjoy the ride or riding to make a video like I'm doing today. I put those last two in the same category because for me, they're equally fun. These things I've shown you today are with me on every slice of that pie chart. They're with me in the configuration I've shown you on the commuting slice. When I'm traveling, I generally dedicate the entire Kriega US 10 to my foul weather layers. So scratch the water bottle, tools, and bungee net and replace them with my Reax thermal layer that packs down, as well as my long johns and a pair of foul weather gloves to change into. The tire and tool kits will be riding in my saddlebags, and the water bottle I actually usually won't even bring because my camera backpack has a hydration bladder inside it. In fact, I wouldn't have even normally brought the water bottle on today's ride for that reason, because I have my camera backpack. Remember when I said I like to overthink this stuff? Oh my God, is that what I've looked like this whole time? Well, now I get to put all this stuff away. While I do that, let me know in the comments below, what are the things that you can't ride without? Do you keep it bare bones, or do you go out prepared for the apocalypse on a simple joyride? And let me know if there's anything I've forgotten or any part of this setup that I may have underthought. Anyway, until next time, you ride safe, and thanks for watching.